Hey friends, in today's video we're going to take a quick peek at getting started in Canva. And if you haven't used Canva yet, you're missing out because Canva is like a super lot of fun. It's an amazing graphic design program that can do so much, and they just seem to keep adding more and more to it. Every time I use Canva, it seems to get better and better. So to get to it, you're going to go to canva.com and you're going to hit the login button. You can see I've logged in previously, and once you get to the login screen, you're going to just choose your district email, because with your district email, you have a full license to the premium Canva account. So here we are on my Canva screen, and I am talking to you as someone who is proficient in Photoshop and Illustrator, and they've been my go-to for decades. Canva is now my go-to. I don't use Photoshop and Illustrator nearly as much as I used to because Canva is so easy to use and there's so much stuff all in one place. It used to be if I was building in Photoshop, I had to find all of the images that I was going to use and I had to make sure that I had the usage rights to use them. Not so in Canva. Anything that you've got access to in Canva, you have the right to use. The only things you have to be aware of copyright about are things that you upload into Canva. But if you're just using Canva, like right out of the box, there is so much in here that's just ready to go for you. So right now, you can see that we're on an education account because it's asking, what will you teach today? Right now we're looking at my designs. So this is all stuff that I've built in Canva. You can see the YouTube thumbnails for the YouTube videos that I've been putting out in the last few days. Those are in here. You can see I've got my digital citizenship that goes with the dot and dash kit that is in the IMC, because dot and dash come back sometimes. They got some things to say that probably they shouldn't be saying. There's also templates. So I can come in here and I can be like, oh, I need to do an education flyer. And if I click in there, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that's pre-made. And any of these I can take and then I can customize. So I can take a look at this class schedule that somebody else built and be like, you know what, that totally fits with what I need. I'm going to take it and I'm just going to adjust it and adapt it for my own needs. So there are just heaps of things in here to get you started. You could add to this that you can search their stuff. So if I wanted to make a word search for my classroom, I search that and there's all kinds of word searches have been pre-created. And so I can open one of these and I can customize this template. So I can take out their words and put in my words, but everything's all nice and spaced and ready to go. Super easy. It'll only take me a few minutes to create something like that. So there's all kinds of stuff in Canva that we can use. And then there's also Canva's AI, where we have the ability to give it some instructions, and you can see some things that other people have done with Canva's AI. And so you can have it create for you images that you can use inside of things that you create for your classroom. So there's a whole bunch of power in Canva. And over the course of a few videos, we're going to get into a bunch of these. For today, we're going to just kind of look at getting started with some of the basic creation. So what do you want to create? Now they've got new stuff, like I said in the intro. They are constantly adding more things into here. So we've got now the ability to do some screen recording inside of Canva. We've got some ability to do some code writing, translating, emails, all kinds of things. And you can do custom size. So there's lots of things that are already kind of started. So if we go into education, it'll have some things that are here and ready to start using for classroom. We've got the ability to start with a presentation. And so, you know, we can give a description of what we want, or we start with a blank presentation. Social media, so there's all the different sizes depending on what you're wanting to create. So if you're building Facebook cover for your school's Facebook page, something like that, you've got the ability in here to grab those. They're pre-made. If you want a square one, start with like this this one that's just social media, 1080 by 1080. That gives you the perfect square like you might see on Instagram. We can edit photos, so you can upload a photo and you can work with a photo editor. You can create videos, print stuff, documents, all kinds of things. Now, the one that's called documents, I find that one to be a little bit limiting. I prefer using something like the worksheet. And so if we start with a blank worksheet, and we can see at the bottom, we can add as many pages as we want, so we don't have to confine ourselves to just one page. And we can start in the design. And so we've got some hey, here's a Christmas math thing. If I click on it, it pulls it right over onto my page and I can start to make some changes. So I'm going to take the S off math because in Canada, we don't put the S on with math. And I might be thinking that, you know what? I could totally use this with my kinders. So I'm going to keep that page and now I'm going to add a page. And I can bring images. I can start from scratch. Some people are very artistic. I would not consider myself to be one of those people. But if you're a person who can have, a real genuine vision for it, because we're coming on to Christmas, we're in early December right now, let's just search for Christmas stuff in here. So it gives me graphics, photos, frames. We've even got audio. Let's take a listen. And so that just illustrates what I was saying, that everything you're going to want to use in your graphic creation is here. You don't have to go to Envato Elements to get some sound and then over to FreePic to get some royalty-free images and then trying to find some sound effects. You can get it all within Canva. So I'm going to go into graphics. So let's see, we've searched Christmas. And here's a whole bunch of little graphics that I could use. So if I click on it, it comes over here onto my screen and I can move it around. I can even for some images, and it doesn't work for everything. It depends on what the original image file was. But if I wanted those berries to be a brighter red, I can adjust some colors. So there, the berries are a brighter red and I can make this green more of an emerald green if I want. Lots and lots and lots of control. I can also control things like the transparency, so I can make that fade it out a little bit. I could flip it, so if I want it to be over in this corner instead. Loads and loads and loads of controls within Canva to move things around. So let's just go back over here to our elements. So I'm looking right now in graphics. I can close that and it'll bring Christmas up in the other things. So here's photos of Christmas. And these are predominantly the opposite. They're kind of more landscape, and I've got a portrait screen here. But here's a nice kind of little background. And I can pull that out, and that could be the background of whatever it is I'm wanting to create here. So super easy to just grab some images. Now we can go back into the graphics, and maybe I want this little Santa hat up at the top here. Doesn't exactly match the motif, but I'm just trying to show you how to build some things. Now, if I want to put some words on, I'm going to go to this next one. I'm going to go to text. There are some pre-designed text pieces that can be grabbed and used, or I can add a heading that just gives me a larger size font. And so I'm going to just type the word Christmas, and I can move that around anywhere I want to put that. Now, here's one of the ways that Canva shines. Like, we can have all of this control by building in Google Slides. But with Canva, we have so many fonts and things like this. So if I wanted to use the Open Dyslexic font, which I get asked about this from time to time because it's a handy font to have when you have a child who's dyslexic. Anything you create in Canva, you can automatically put it into that Open Dyslexic font for the students who are going to benefit from using that kind of thing. We also might have... if I want to look for like a dotted line, so there we can put it into a dotted type thing. So lots of different choices for fonts. And if we just go into the general font list, you will see that there are loads and loads and loads of fonts in here. And so it may be that you had a font you liked previously back in the days of Windows and things like that. You might find it in here. There's a lot to be seen in this font list. So there, we're just getting now to where the alphabetizing starts. Previously, I had some others, and I can upload a font. So if I had a font that I really wanted to use, this is your place to do your creation because you can include the fonts that you want to use. So we've taken a look at putting some images on. We've taken a look at putting some text on. And I will do another video that allows us to play around with some of the other things in here. The last thing I'm going to show you now is how to take this and turn it into something that you can print from your Google Drive. So we don't want to use this print with Canva. That's like sourcing it out to have Canva print it and mail it to us. What we want to do is we want to hit this Share Design button, and then we've got this download. And so I'm going to download it. And now I can choose what kind of a file I want it to be. Since I'm doing worksheet type things that are actually like a letter size sheet of paper, for that one I would probably choose the PDF because that's going to be my easiest to load into my Google Drive and then just print it off. So if this was a bunch of worksheets that I wanted kids to work on, that's how I would probably proceed, is PDF standard. And then best bet is to flatten the PDF. What that does is it turns it basically into an image file. So if you load it onto Google Classroom, kids can't move things around. Equally, if you have used some clip art that maybe you bought from an educational clip art designer and you've got the license to use it for your own classroom, you have to flatten it so that somebody can't take those images back off. It's a violation of copyright. Then I can choose what pages that I want. It's going to select all automatically, but if I just want the current page, I can do that. Or if I want the whole booklet, I'm going to choose done and I'm going to choose download, and it is going to create that PDF file for me, which I will just grab. Now it's called Christmas Math. Let's just take a look at it. We'll open the file in Chrome. Let's just see. So there's my first sheet, the kindergarten math page. There's my second sheet. So I'm going to load that into my Google Drive, and then I can print it to send it home or to give to kids in my classroom. So this is just kind of our first intro to Canva. But if you like playing around with these kinds of things and enjoy instructional design in the same kind of capacity that I do, you're going to love Canva. So head over to canva.com, log in, play around a little bit, and if you need some help or if you've got some questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm totally available to help you navigate some of these new fun things. So that concludes for today's video. We'll take a look at some of the other things in future videos.